on, everybody, man? You back to another episode of Big Lance Off the Yard, man. As always, subscribe, like, notification bell, man, so you can get notified whenever I drop one of these dope-ass videos and you can get some of this cool content we got coming off this channel. To all the new subscribers, welcome. To people who are just checking us out, make sure you subscribe. So anyway, man, one of our subs, actually one of the BLCOGs, hit me up this morning on Messenger and pointed me in the direction of this guy, Brian Bruton, something like that. Crazy prison stories, man. And I started watching his videos. And dude seems real solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, seems humble. Definitely a different type of guy coming from that area, man. So I want to say real quick, man, much shout out to Brian Bruton, man. I like what you're doing, man. Your content is pretty slick, man. I fuck with it. Anyway, I'm do a video on Virginia, the Virginia gangs in the prison, and you know, from what I saw as the top to the bottom. And I spoke on this before, and as we all know, in Virginia, the largest group is by far the Bloods. And although they're in, the one thing that makes them successful as far as being a prison organization is that they're very strict for the most part. And they hold their guys to a very high standard, man. You're not going to be sniffing a lot of dope. You're not going to be participating in any homosexuality. And you're definitely not going to be jumping off the roof on any type of action, no violence without being authorized to do so. Because if you do, the fucking consequences can be very severe. I've seen these guys put in a fuck ton of work, and they don't care. They're gonna put that work in, and I mean, you're always gonna have a weak link in any organization. So, but what I did notice from them was they were real quick to weed that out, you know, and you know, they definitely rule with an iron fist. There was actually a couple instances because we had guys, and it's in our culture, you know, it's in white culture to it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We like to party. We like to get high. You know, that's just what it is. I, as somebody who had control of a yard, had to numerous times politic with these other organizations because my guys were running up dope debts behind my back. And unbeknownst to me, these guys would, you know, run up $400, $500, $600 debts. Next thing you know, where'd they go? They disappeared. So they done checked in, and I'm sitting here stuck with his debt. And people always say, "Oh, you a shot caller, you good?" No, motherfucker, you are responsible for so many other dudes, so many other people, and their fuck ups and their mistakes and their attitudes, and it's like you got to play daddy to fucking 500 other motherfuckers. So trust and believe, it's not as great as people think it is. I'll take being off that fucking throne any day, trust me. So, but the one thing I will say with most of the big homies that I associated with this organization always kind of played fair with me, because I feel like a lot of them had respect for what I was trying to do. They knew I wasn't on no race bullshit as far as my purpose. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we were, you know, predominantly white organization, you know, but that's not what I pushed. You didn't see a bunch of us running around with swastikas and stuff like that. That wasn't our purpose. Now, guys that did that, I'm not saying nothing about those guys that do wear the swastika or that are involved in those organizations. It just wasn't what we were about. My purpose wasn't about anything racial. We don't even talk about race in that organization whatsoever. So, moving forward, another reason why I feel like for them, it wasn't, you know, they always played fair because they knew I would take care of it. I had a lot of tattoo guys in my organization, man, so I could always just throw some ink on these dudes and call that shit a rap. Like, and I did that a lot of times, man. A lot of dudes are walking around with sleeves right now because somebody in our organization put it on them, trust and believe. So that's going to be their number one. Number two, I'm going to have to say, from my experience, was the GDs, the Gangster Disciple, and I think that one of the reasons why they were so large in a lot of the places that I was at was because they were interracial at one point. Now, at one point as well, at a couple institutions I was at. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes at some institutions, there'll be laws passed down that won't make it to other institutions. So, like, they'll be running an organization one way at this facility, but at this facility, it won't be running that way because they either haven't gotten the word or they just don't do it. Sometimes it's a numbers game. You know what I'm saying? For instance, what I'm getting at is when I was at Greensville, there came a word down that white boys wasn't allowed to be GD no more. That was the word. That's what I was told. And actually, we ended up picking up a lot of them guys after this whole situation went down because they were solid dudes. They were just white, and whoever was making these rules now was saying white dudes wasn't allowed to be GD no more. So as that all started to progress and these dudes were getting kicked out the whip, when I say getting kicked out the whip, that means when they were getting told they had to leave the organization, they were going to other places because people have an organizational way of thinking. That's what we called it. And, and they want to belong to something. They don't have family. They have a tribal mentality. So it wasn't like they were just gang hopping, which a lot of people do. But a lot of these guys just wanted to be a part of something, man. They wanted to show what they were made of for a bigger cause, which, I mean, that's the same thing as the military. It's the same thing as anything you sign up with. That's a fucking job. You go fill out a job like this, you want to be a part of that company. The same thing applies if you're in a penitentiary. I mean, you don't want to walk around just with nothing. So, anyway, there's a consolidation with them and the Crips. So this is what also made them big. Now, there's some institutions where we have a lot of Crips. There'll be more Crips than Bloods. And it's sort of like a north-south thing is what I kind of saw. Like when I went to Augusta, there was probably more Crips there than there were Bloods. Now, at this particular time, though, the Bloods weren't as big as them, but they were way more violent. So, we get back to the point of it ain't always about how many you got. It's about the ones that you do have, And a lot of these guys, because they hadn't, segregated it up there at Augusta yet, so there was still white dudes banging GD. But you got to remember, a lot of these white dudes are coming from suburbia. A lot of these white dudes ain't really built like that. So you're putting them in these violent situations and they are not ready for it. But when you have people who have grown up in these terrible neighborhoods and in these basic war zones, it's a little different caliber of individual. So when I used to tell guys all the time, listen, these guys grow up getting shot at, getting in fist fights, running from the cops and shit. You grew up in a fucking nice split foyer with a fucking garage and mom and daddy both work and you probably had a PS fucking 20 in your goddamn room with a flat screen. These kids were fucking sharing a ramen noodle. They don't care about you. They're going to take from you. They're going to beat you up. They're going to hurt you bad. Be prepared for this. Anyway, so they collaborated for numbers, and although there are solid individuals, I did see a lot of dudes who were just signing up with those organizations because that was the only way that they could get on the phone. So that was the only way that they would not get extorted by the homies. You know what I'm saying? So when it came down to putting in that work, though, you see a lot of them check in, and you saw a lot of them running up those dope debts and checking in off that. But when you do check in, it ain't like you just disappear. You're just going to another facility. Those words get passed, and you will still get your head rocked, and you'll still have to come up with that money. So just because you check in doesn't mean you check out. You still got to finish your sentence. Now, I did see, as far as Spanish organizations, by far it's MS-13. They are huge out here. Northern Virginia, they are super deep. And I've seen them, when we at Red Onion, there was actually a beef between them two, the Bloods and the MS. Now, the MS are very violent. And they are extremely, extremely organized. And they're extremely fucking loyal. They're not going to back down from any type of anything. They don't care. You know, they'll stab you, they'll jump you, they'll beat you, they'll maim you. They don't care. It's just what it is. I've seen more stabbings from them guys than anybody else by far, and it's not even a close number. They'll stab you quick as shit. There's a story I tell on one of my past videos about that exact thing. And me and actually my homeboy Brooks was talking on the live stream the other day about when we were actually standing there, and the dude fucking stabbed this one guy just while we were standing there, like literally 2 feet from us, man, and drove this fucking 7-inch goddamn bone crusher through his back. Well, after that, you're gonna have, and I hate talking about these guys because I don't even feel like they should be mentioned, but I have to mention them. It's the Hammer guys, the Odinist guys, and the reason I don't like talking about them is because I've seen them get bitched up so much. Now, I know some guys that wear that hammer and are proud of it and will fight you for it, and these guys are solid, but they are so few and far between. In Virginia, there is, and I know I'm going to catch hell for this, but there is a shortage of solid fucking white dudes in Virginia. And it's like they click up, all these soft motherfuckers click up, and what happens is the other organizations are kind of laughing at them. You know, they walk around with their books and they're fucking, but all they do is get high. So all they're doing is sniffing fucking Suboxone all day, or sniffing dope, or shooting, or whatever it is they're doing. They don't work out. They have no program. They walk around in dirty fucking clothes. But there's a lot of them. And it seems like, and they go and tattoo all this Viking shit. They're basically trying to look like the dudes out in California or Texas, shit like that. That's where they're getting their swag from. But you can't just put a costume on and that makes you a thorough motherfucker. You have to put in the work like those guys out west do. And those guys out west are serious. You know what I'm saying? They're serious motherfuckers, and they'll kill you. These guys will not do that. I've seen people open hand smack these dudes on the yard and them literally do nothing. You know, I've seen 3 Bloods walk up to fucking a mass of these guys, 20 or 30 of them sitting on the rec yard, and smack the fuck out of one of them and nobody do anything. So, you know, although I respect the hammer, and to this day I wear a hammer sometimes. I love the Norse mythology and shit, and I love what it's supposed to represent. But I did not wear my hammer inside. And people always ask me that all the time, like, why did you wear your hammer in there? And I'm like, no, I did not wear a hammer in there because that would associate me with that group, and I didn't want to be associated with that group. You know, it was everything I could do actually not to go extort those motherfuckers myself. And the only reason I didn't was because I myself am a white dude, and I just felt bad about it. But I could have, at any chance, any given moment, I could have. I just chose not to. Okay. So, as we've gone down the line, we've gone from the highest to the lowest on the totem pole. I'm going to mention a few other little organizations that really I didn't mention because they're just not big enough in this state. You have, you know, Serranos here. You don't have any Norteños. You have, because that's a California thing. So, but you do have Serranos because those guys come from over there. You have a few Latin Kings. And the reason I didn't mention my organization is because we actually weren't that big as far as in the Virginia system. It's growing a lot now, and I know that I had a lot to do with that. And, you know, we'll do a video on whether or not that's like a proud moment for me or not. I'll definitely shoot a video on that and give you guys the opportunity to get some insight into how I feel about all that. But as they've grown, they've gotten more violent. They've gotten a little more structured. But, you know, At the time that I was in there, we weren't very big, but we had some of the solidest dudes as far as, you know, they were basically handpicked. A lot of these guys came from other organizations that said white guys couldn't bang that set no more, so they weren't fucking soft. You know, and a lot of them guys, a lot of people are going to say, well, they should have fucking fought. Da-da-da. Yeah, I get on that, but why fight for something that doesn't want you there? You know what I mean? So, you know, we'll get into the politics of it all as well. This is going to have to be a couple video segment, man, because I can't break it all down. What I'll do in my next couple videos is I'll take each one and break it down, how they structured, how they program, man. Give you guys some insight on the Virginia Department of Corrections and how it's run as far as the gangs. You guys have a good, positive morning, man. Much love to the BLC. If you're new here, man, like I said, welcome. Be humble, be kind. Prison rules are in effect. We're always watching. Always watching. All right? Much love, man. Y'all have a good day.